Guys, you know, Cjrb has been really well known for releasing the same knife in multiple sizes. Well, they've done it again. So now there is a third addition to the Pyrite line, the Mini-Pyrite. So let's turn this around and take a look at this cool little guy from above. So guys, you know that the Pyrite has been probably the most successful series of knives that Cjrb has done. Well, they've now released a mini Pyrite. So you have the Pyrite XL, you have the Mini-Pyrite, and you have the regular Pyrite. So just to give you a size comparison, here it is next to the regular Wharncliffe Pyrite. And you can see it's a significant size difference. This thing is about the size of the handle, just a little bit bigger than the handle of the full-size Pyrite, but you're not giving up anything. Let's get this out of the way. I just wanted to give you a quick size comparison. So you're really not giving up a lot on this knife if you're looking for a small knife. Now, if you don't like small knives, this is definitely not in your wheelhouse. So this thing is tiny. You're looking at just coming in at 3 inches on the mat closed. Open, you're looking at just about 5 1/4, almost 5 1/2. This thing is a small little knife. Now, there's a lot of times that would be something you would want. This is really light. It's done in aluminum and ARRPM 9. It has got the Wharncliffe style blade, just like the Wharncliffe Pyrite. And I got to tell you, I've done some test cutting with it today. This is the first day I've carried it, and it cuts really, really well for such a small knife. The ARRPM 9 blade is done really well. It comes down nice and thin. And sometimes on these smaller knives, the problem you have is that they get really thick because they don't transition the blade stock. So they used some fairly thin blade stock. I think it's actually thinner than the standard Pyrite. Well, not really. But they used, you know, some fairly already thin blade stock and then gave it a full flat grind all the way down behind the edge. And what gets you is a really nice cutting profile. So this is radiused slightly, so you can do some sweeping cuts if you want. But this is really nice because even though this is a very small knife, like you can see, I've got about 2.5 finger grip on this, right? I can get way up on it. It does have a choil. I can get way up on it like this and still do some heavy duty cutting. I cut some pretty hefty cardboard with this and it seemed to do a really good job. It's done in Cjrb's button lock that they have been doing now for a year. And they're some of the best budget button lock knives on the market. This thing is done really, really cool. Aluminum scales that have been anodized. We talked about that in a video before about hard coat ano. Really resilient coat, finish on that. And then a PVD coated blade. Now, I'm pretty sure that they have multiple options on this. I have not looked up price point because you guys know I like to fly into these blind. But then they've done some really like striking ano colors on some of the lanyard holes. And on a knife like this, you do want a lanyard. And on something this small, maybe the lanyard post was not a real good option. And so that's why they stuck with a lanyard hole this size. But the fact is, the regular Pyrite had a lanyard hole as well. But really, really cool. Super light because it is aluminum. Sorry about that. That's one of the, we'll talk about that in a minute. Really nice and light because it is aluminum with some steel liners in there, but the steel liners have had a good bit of weight reduction done. So it's not at all heavy. And then the button lock on it's great. And the fact it is a button lock, which means it's ambidextrous, they have given you a reversible pocket clip. And the pocket clip is a nice deep carry pocket clip, so you can carry this down in. Like I said, this is something that if you're wearing like thinner pants, like if you're in an office setting where you wear slacks all the time, this might be a knife you want because it's not going to swing around and bounce around as much as a larger knife. Now, with everything, there's some little negatives that go with this. I do like this knife, but we have to talk about a couple of bad points. And we'll talk about that right after you guys hear from a video sponsor. Guys, a big shout out to Dahlstrong for sponsoring this portion of this video. I just wanted to point out that you are not going to find a knife that is more comfortable in hand in the kitchen than the Dahlstrong Phantom series. This is my Phantom series paring knife. They sent this to me. I've used this so much. You just cannot get by how comfortable they are. And not only are they comfortable, they're gorgeous. You can see it there. It is a beautiful series of knives. They're done with natural materials, quality steel, and they are some of the sharpest kitchen knives you're going to find. So go down to the link below. Check out Dahlstrong. They are supporting this channel. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout. Guys, that's it. Let's turn this around and get back to the video. So there's a couple little bad points about it. And first off, it's just that it's so small. For me, this knife is too small. With a lanyard, it might feel a little bit less if you put a lanyard on it where you've got something extending that through your hand. But the fact is, it's still just too small for my hands, really. I mean, yes, I can get up on it and get like a 3-finger grip on it and do some heavier cutting. But for me, this knife just is too small. Next thing. I think that on this one with the button, I think I mentioned this about the mica, the button stands up really tall. It just seems like it stands up higher than it does on some of their other button lock knives. The thing about it being small, this is another knife that because it's small like this, it just rolls out of the alignment of the cut for me. So if you've got big hands, it might not be a knife for you. It's just kind of going to roll a little bit. The pocket clip is really good, but for me on this knife, it just turns into a hotspot. It's a really good pocket clip in and out of pocket. And if you're not doing heavy cutting, if you're not going to do a lot of cutting, it's probably not going to bother you that much. Like I was saying, if you're in an office setting, it might not be an issue, but it does stand up really proud. And where it puts it in my hand, it's definitely noticeable and it's a hotspot. That's the other thing. With it being that small, I have a hard time. I get myself in my own way. What happens is my finger hits and I can't deploy it the way I want. This probably would do a lot better on a small knife like this if it had a flipper tab. And then the final thing, you guys have heard me say it a bunch of times about a bunch of knives, that jimping is just worthless. There's nothing there. You can't get a grip on it. It's just slippery. It happens when they finish the knives, and I do know that Cjrb is a little bit more budget line of knives, so you have to look at the fact that they are finishing these in a specific way that saves steps, but it winds up rounding off and making this jimping just basically there for show. I don't find it attractive, so if it's not functional, I don't want it. But all in all, if you're looking for a really nice little knife, this might be up your alley. This one and the mica have really impressed me how cool they are. But this is something you might want to look at if you have a friend that needs a knife for in their purse, or someone that, like I said, needs a smaller knife that's not as over the top. So there you go, guys. That's it on this one. Let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts and send you out about your day. The little mini knives are typically outside of what I like. There are a few exceptions. I like this one a lot. I like the mica, and I like some of the cold steel ones like the Super Edge and the Urban Pal and things like that. Just little knives that really do a good job. I do see a place for this knife. It absolutely performs incredibly well for such a small knife. It's like a box cutter. It really is. It's like a resharpenable box cutter. So if you're interested in checking it out, I made sure I put a link down below. Guys, that's it on this one pretty much. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. You know what to do. Tell me what you don't like if you don't like the video. There's all the sponsors down below. I put a link in, Coffee Bear and Coffee, Tempered Trail. They have discounts built in to their link, and you can also use coupon code CrazySharp, all one word, all lowercase, at either one of those. Works the same. You can use that code to save 40% at Beyond EDC right now. I don't know how much longer the supplies will last because he said we've sold a lot of those knives. You can also use it at Fair & Forge Knife Works and Rosecraft Blades. It will save you 10% at those. Lots of vendors down below. I'm adding more. I've got Concept. I've got a couple others that I'm adding. So you're going to see new links for vendors, but I've got Fosteed and all your major ones like Knife Ship Free, GP Knives, Blade HQ, things like that. We Knife Company. So check those out. If you're going to buy knives, use my affiliates. If you're going to buy stuff on Amazon, use my store. Just take it, pin it to your browser, use that for all your Amazon shopping. Join the public Discord. There's a link to it down below. It says join the community. You can also get into my memberships and get exclusive content, giveaways. There's a sharpening tutorial series for the premium tier guys. There's a private Discord for the members. So with that being said, guys, I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.